Me from Cologne in Germany. I have the amazing champion fencer. Her name is Alexandra Ndolo. Welcome, Alexandra, to Double O Direct.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Really nice. Really nice to talk to you. So, give me some background because you've been making news in Kenya over the last couple of weeks. So, let's understand who is Alexandra Ndolo?
Well, I'm a German born and raised, half Kenyan, half Polish girl, just like, your regular mix. Yeah, my father is Kenyan, my mom's Polish. And so, yeah, I've always been doing sports, and that's like the shortest version of who I am.
I can see the short version, but I wanted the long version. All right. So, where were you born? How did you get into sport? What sports are you really passionate about? Of course, save fencing. And then, how did you transition into it professionally?
Yeah. So my father actually he went to Poland on an academic scholarship. That's where he met my mother, and they got together and moved to Germany, where he did his PhD. And that's where me and all my sisters were born. And that's also where we all got into sports. Like I have a 5 year older sister, and we kind of had that system at home. I think a lot of people know it. When there's a lot of kids, sometimes parents say, okay, the oldest one, just take them with you, go outside, make sure that they're safe. And it was kind of the same with us. Like my oldest sister was doing track and field. So I was being the copycat, I was doing track and field. Then later she was doing something called modern pentathlon, which is like this really amazing, really crazy sport. It's running, shooting, horseback riding, swimming, and of course fencing. So I was doing that from the age of 10. And later, when I was 21, I specialized in fencing because out of the five, even though I was like really good at youth level, out of the five, fencing was the one that was always really, really fascinating to me because there's like no training session that is like the other. You always have to adapt to your opponent when you're fencing. You have to be really quick on your feet, but also with your mind. You need to always have a new strategy. And so yeah, I fell in love with this particular sport when I was 10 and specialized when I was 21.
That is fascinating. Now, how did you balance all of this with your academics? Because something about Kenyan parents is you always have to have a backup. You always have to have that thing. In case this doesn't work out, you need a real job. So you need a real career. So you have real qualifications for something. So how did you actually balance training and being part of this new pentathlon and your school life?
I think my parents are just the same, or were just the same. It was kind of like when I was really young, it was, well, for sure you have to finish high school and then you can do whatever you want. And as soon as I got into high school, it was like, yeah, but you have to finish university and then you can do whatever you want. So it was very clear that I had to do my homework and I had to get at least okay grades. My older sister was a really good student. I was like, okay until the last years because I don't know, I figured do good A levels and you will be fine. And in the end, it's true because in Germany, you need your A level grades to get into university. So basically, what happens before is not that important. But yeah, I finished high school, I finished college because my parents told me to, and because it was the right decision to take. Yeah.
With this passion for sport, what what did you end up studying?
Uh, Something completely different, I guess. I went to medical school to be a medical laboratory technician.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the
Do you
field.
have any interest in that at all? Because, firstly, when you started with, I went to medical school, we were all shocked because we are thinking, you're a doctor, you're a medical doctor, and you're a fencer. So that threw us off. But you're a technician. So, did you have any interest in that at all? Because, how long were you in university studying that?
Three and a half years to get
Yes.
my degree, and I mean, I might always come back to it. But to be honest, obviously, the lifestyle that I have right now, I love it. And if I can, I will stay in this in the field of sports because sports has given me so much, and I have so much fun. Not just training every day, but also meeting new people, talking to the people around me about our sports, about our passion for sports, and helping systems evolve. So we'll see. But I think it was really good that my parents made me get a degree.
Yes.
Because we need a backup plan.
So between the ages of 10 and 21, those are very formative years for a young woman, and it's transitioning from being a girl to a woman. And it can be a very socially awkward, physically awkward, and at times mentally awkward time for girls and for teenagers. So how did sport and being fascinated and focusing on sport in addition to your academics help you navigate those times?
Well, as you said, I think everyone, especially between like, let's say 10 and 16, when everything is changing, you can be really insecure. But I had sports, and that was something I knew I was good at. It was evident. I mean, if you have score sheets or whatever, you just know if you're good or not. And that really helped with my self-esteem as well at an age where maybe there's some bullying going on, or everyone is just insecure in general. So sports was a really, really good thing for me, because I had friends that were interested in the same thing. We could also, like help each other. And even if there were tough times at high school, because there was one year when I was bullied severely, I still had sports that helped me get through it.
You've spoken about being bullied and being bullied severely. Did that come across as a result of you being mixed race, living in Germany, growing up in Germany, or was that completely unrelated?
I think it just started as one of those stupid teenage fights. And then I think kids can be cruel, right? And they picked on the fact that I was mixed race, but I think if I would have been overweight or whatever, they would have picked that. So yeah, they focused for 1 year. They focused on the fact how I looked, my skin color, and whatever. But I don't think it was because I was mixed race. It was just a fight that escalated. And if I had been overweight or had a physical disability, I think they would have picked on that.
You were born and raised in Europe. What, if any, has been your experience with Africa and Kenya in particular?
Well, I grew up with my parents until my father died when I was 10. So I think until then, especially because my father, he did his PhD at the university in my hometown in Bavaria, and the African faculty at that university at that point was growing, and there was like a really nice group of mixed couples and then mixed race babies like myself. So that environment was beautiful. Growing up with the music, with the parties. All our parents were also young, so they were taking us, and once we would fall asleep, they would go on. You know how it is. And so that was a really beautiful environment. Unfortunately, when my father died, my connection to Kenya kind of stopped for a couple of years. My mother remarried, and it took me roughly 9 years from the age of 10 to 19 before I had the chance to come back to Kenya and reconnect with the Kenyan family. But ever since, it has been great. Like, I have the fondest memories of my grandma, of my Dani, even though we never had a shared language because she only spoke Luo and Swahili. She would show her love through food. And every time I came, I was way too skinny. And we would just spend the days of her cooking and me eating and her making sure that I had enough tea going with it. And it was just, great times.
Excellent. More with champion fencer, Alexandra Ndolo, in a bit. I'm Olivia Otieno. Got some Snow Allegra, some Alexander Burke. Hallelujah! I passed by one of the studios today. I saw a Bible, Biblia. Let me tell you. They were looking at me side-eye, in this dress of mine. But it's okay. It's okay. Freedom, redemption, peace. That's all I got to offer you. I am with champion fencer, Alexandra Ndolo. Alexandra, give me an introduction. I know you're there in Cologne, but give me an introduction into fencing, because the only fencer I know, right, is Captain Jean-Luc Picard from the Starship Enterprise. So clearly, I don't know any African fencers. Tell me about fencing.
Okay, so maybe you also know Puss in Boots from Shrek.
Oh, of
there
course.
are a few more.
Yes, and they're all French.
Yeah,
all French. And one is a cat, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so fencing basically has three different weapons, the modern fencing, because I think some sort of sword fight has been going on in every culture. But the modern fencing has épée fencing, what I'm doing,
Yes.
foil fencing, and saber fencing.
Okay.
And épée fencing is where you can touch from head to toe. Like, just pick a target and you can touch, and whoever touches first gets the point.
Okay.
This is pretty easy to understand.
Is it painful?
No, because we have that white suit and we have the mask to protect our head.
Yes.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do it because I like combat sport, but I don't want to get hurt. I'm very happy that my face is protected.
Yeah, you have a beautiful face at that. So yeah, we're also very happy it's protected. So how do they know when the touch happens? Are there sensors?
Yeah, not really sensors, but it's like a mechanical tip. You push it down through touching, and then there's like a wiring in the weapon itself, and then you also have like electronic stuff in your jacket, and then it goes to the scoring machine.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is épée, which is the easiest to understand when it comes to rules. Then we have foil, where you can touch only the torso, like no arms, no legs, no head. And they have like a small vest, which also takes the score. Like, it's also mechanical, but also only if you score on the vest, it really gets registered.
Okay.
And you need the priority of attacking. This is like, it's a bit complicated to understand.
So it's like only when you serve, you get a point. So that means priority of attacking. If you're in the defense, doesn't matter. You don't get nothing.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. If you're in the defense and you parry and you counterattack, then you get the touch. Yeah. The technical. And then we have saber fencing, where you can score a touch from your waist up, also with the head and with the arms. And you can either touch, or you can also like beat sideways.
Okay. That sounds beautiful.
I think it is actually, but they also have the protective jackets and everything, and they say it doesn't. So I guess. And you also need to have the priority in order to get the touch. So that's the three weapons.
Are all three Olympic sports? Are any of them Olympic sports?
All of them are Olympic sports, but now is the crazy part, because women were only allowed to do it at competitions since 2000, all three weapons. Before, we were only allowed to do foil fencing, because I guess it's like it's the weapon that is most flexible and it doesn't hurt so much. And I guess men thought that's the only thing that women can do competitively. But then in the 90s, women's épée was introduced. And in the early 2000s, women's saber was introduced. So now everyone can fence everything at the Olympics.
So I want to go back to the 5 sports you were playing. Yeah. And you deciding to pick one. So which were the 5 sports that you started as a pentathlete at the age of 10?
Mm-hmm. So it was horseback riding, shooting, swimming, running, and fencing.
So shooting, you're talking about firearms.
Yes. But like small ones.
Those lady guns, those lady guns. Okay. And then at 21, you focused primarily on fencing and épée fencing at that. So give me highlights of your fencing career, pre-professional, between the ages of 10 and 21. What were the highlights? What were the moments that made you think, oh my goodness, not only do I love this, but I'm awesome at it?
So I think first it actually starts when I was 10 that I saw the Olympics, like witnessed the Olympics on TV for the first time. It was the Atlanta Olympics. And I remember just getting the Olympic bug. So back then it wasn't about one specific sport, because I was actually in the transition between track and field and pentathlon, but it was just like this huge event, this party of athletes celebrating the highest accomplishments. So I saw it and I fell in love with the Olympics. And and then when I did pentathlon, it was pretty obvious, pretty fast that I was talented. Because when you said, I have to say, because
Alexandra and Ndolo, I am talented. No, but seriously, okay, were these sports being offered at school, or were you in an after-school program or some sort of community center happening?
It was at school, but it was an extracurricular activity, which now I know is crazy, but back then, I mean, you go with whatever is there, right? So for me, growing up in Bavaria, Germany, Bavaria is a pretty conservative and rather rich area of Germany. So even though my parents didn't have a lot of money, we had this extracurricular activity, and I could just do those 5 sports. Like we had a shooting range at my high school, wow. Which now is you can't imagine it now anymore, but this is how it was back then. And so when I started, I remember going to my first competition, like 11 years old, and I got second place. Wow. And mind you, I was a pretty cocky child and like always like very open, yes. Also telling people my opinion. So yes. I got second place, and the girl that got first place, we became really good friends. But I looked her in the eye and I was like, next time I'm going to beat you. Like, I will not be second place. It kind of was like this from that moment on. So I first like kind of dominated the regional field, and then we started having national competitions. I ended up being 3 times German youth champion in pentathlon. Yeah, pentathlon. And I remember my second year of those 3, I went to the fencing German championships of my youth. And it was just like, for me, it was for fun because the coaches said, go to the competitions, it's good practice. And I ended up winning the competition individually and with my teammates. And this is when actually the German Fencing Federation scouted me, and they were like, okay, where did you learn this? Would you like to come to our boarding school? Mind you, I was like 13, 14 years old at that point. So I was invited to like a scouting training camp at their boarding school, and I was offered a place, and I could have gone, but we didn't have the money. So there was a place, but it wasn't for free, and like we were 4 children, so there was no chance for me to actually go to that boarding school. And I mean, I'm happy in a sense that I stayed because my younger sisters are 7 and 10 years younger than me, and I think would I have gone away at 14 years old, we wouldn't have the connection that we have right now. But when it comes to my career, I was obviously sad because I had that dream of the Olympics. I had that dream of being on a high level, and due kind of to like money issues, I had to wait another 7 years before I had the chance to go away and pursue that high level dream.
So you're from a blended family. Your father passed when you were 10 years old. Your mother then remarried. And I can see that had 2 other children, either from the marriage or together with her new husband. How did that affect you psychologically? And how did that affect your drive to become an athlete?
I mean, I love the family that I have. I think it's fun that we're so mixed, but at the same time, I mean, if you would see my younger sisters, because we have the same mother, which is blonde, blue-eyed, and white, and my stepfather is a white German man. So my sisters are blonde, white, and blue-eyed. So whenever we are around and we're like, yeah, we're sisters, everyone's like, what? No, what? And in a way, we don't look alike. Even the 2 of them don't look alike that much, but we share the same upbringing. Like, we know what it's like to grow up in a household that has African influences and has a very, very strong Polish influence, because our mom is kind of a matriarch and like a really strong woman. So whenever she could, she installed in us of her culture. And so I love that mix. In sense of drive, my family never pushed me into doing professional sports. Like my oldest sister, yes, she used to do it on a junior level professionally, but once she reached university, she stopped, and she's doing a lot of sports. She's actually a coach, but she's not doing it as a professional high-level athlete, and the younger ones just do sport for themselves. So whatever I achieve, my family is like, good for you, we're happy for you. But for the longest times, they didn't even get like, what is a World Cup? What is winning German championships? Like, I remember winning, even during my youth years, winning 3 times in a row German championships in pentathlon. My mom would be like, okay, isn't that what you do? Like, you go off on weekends, you come back and you bring a trophy. And I was like, I guess, okay.
So in addition to the recognition of your accolades and the trophies, were there any other benefits? Were there like sponsorships, partnerships, monetary rewards? What came with it other than the fact that you had a title now?
No, no, only the recognition, especially if you're a young athlete, then yeah, you get your trophies. Maybe when you get older, you get a bouquet of flowers and that's it. And I think in a way, when you're a teenager, that's good because you do it purely for the love of the sport and for the competition. Later on, being an adult athlete now, it would be nice to have more sponsorships because I also think that professional athletes, we transport values. Yeah, you want to win, but it's not just about winning. It's about discipline, about applying yourself to a cause, bouncing back. I think those are all things that corporations can also see themselves aligning next to, right? So,
yes.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more with Alexandra Ndolo about fencing and her decision to become part of Team Kenya when we come back. Live stream because I'm having a Zoom interview with a champion. She's a fencing champion. And if you're like me, know nothing about fencing, don't worry. She's explained all of it. It will be up on the SpiceFM YouTube page in a little while when Mumbi chops it all up. But right now, I'm continuing the conversation because some amazing things have been happening. Number one, she's won several championships. Number two, she's moved from Team Germany, Team Deutschland, to Team Kenya. I'm going to find out why. Alexandra, we need to understand exactly what these accolades were because you became professional at the age of 21. Mm-hmm. Started earning money from fencing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no?
Yeah. Okay. So from the age of 21, I started my professional career,
yes.
But I was not listed on any ranking, no regional, no national ranking. So I had to work my way up. I had to train for 4 years before I could join the German sports division army.
Yes.
To actually earn money from it. And I think my career since 21 until now, it has been going just, kind of steadily up because in 2017, I won my first medal at European Championships, a silver. 2019, I won a bronze, so my second medal at European Championships. And this summer in Cairo at World Championships, I became the silver medalist. And so I think it's going in the right direction.
Do they support you financially as a Team Germany athlete?
Yeah, because I'm in the army, or I was in the army until now in the sports division. I had a job.
Wait. When you say army, you mean the military?
Yeah,
like
the German military.
Okay.
Yeah. The German military has a sports division, and I've been a member of that for 11 years. So that's where I got my salary from.
But you don't have to be in the army. You can just play for them with regards to sports.
Yeah, but then you don't get a salary.
Wait a minute. Wait. So are you a soldier? Like I'm trying to figure out how this works exactly.
Yeah, officially I was a soldier, or I still am until the end of the month. But right now I'm leaving the German army to be on Team Kenya. That was one of the sacrifices I had to make.
So when you fill out those passport visa things and you say, have you ever been in the military? You have to say you've been in the military. Like when you were filling out your Kenyan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, fine. So you've left Team Germany. Why? Because Kenyans are running. They're going to Bahrain. They're going to Qatar. They're going anywhere they can go as athletes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to move from Germany to become a Kenyan athlete?
In late 2014, I started gathering a team in Nairobi that was also interested in fencing like me. Because at that point, I had already been on like a higher level team in Germany. And I was thinking like, okay, how can I give back the knowledge that I've already gotten and just help other people experience what I've experienced through fencing? Because as I said, I don't come from a rich background or whatever, but I've been able to visit 4 out of 5 continents through fencing. I've met incredible people. I've made so many great connections. My character grew because, if you don't understand the language and you're in the middle of China and no one speaks English, well, you will have to find a way to negotiate with the cab driver. So, just little things like this, make you grow. And late 2014, we got together. We started a fencing program in Nairobi. it has been growing ever since we started. It's not where I would love it to be, but that's due to the fact that I could only come to Kenya once a year. And we really had to start from basically nothing. I would say there was a handful of people that even knew what fencing was. And now we have like a bigger group and like a lot of kids, and I'm just loving whenever I come to the program. But it was purely philanthropic, right? I was bringing equipment from Germany whenever I could. If my mom came to visit, she brought equipment, and this is how we've been stocking the program. And the guys in Nairobi, they do a fantastic job. We have 2 young athletes actually from the program that we managed to get a scholarship from the World Fencing Federation to go to South Africa to their coaching academy. And they already came back. They have their diploma. They're working as coaches, like helping the next generation. So I love it. I love it. And this summer, one of those guys went to World Championships alongside me. I mean, like not in my team because I was Team Germany and he was Team Kenya. But he was the first athlete to participate in World Championships. And
from Kenya.
From Kenya. And I mean, the guys from the fencing team in Nairobi, they've asked me a couple of times, do you want to join? Do you want to come and fence for Team Kenya? And before I was always like, yeah, I don't know, let me help just with the other things. But now standing in Cairo in that big hall and seeing, we always line up all the flags. And this was like the first time that I saw a Kenyan flag at a fencing event lined up there with all the others. And I think that was kind of the moment when it clicked. And just 2 days after coming back from Worlds, I came to Nairobi, I met with the team, and the question was again, do you want to fence for us? And I was kind of like, I think now is the time I should do it, because what I can bring to the table now, apart from what I brought before, equipment or just knowledge, I mean, if I win medals for Kenya, it's good for the still young federation. It's good for African fencing, actually. I can bring some recognition, and I just want to help the system.
My question is, while he was alive, your father was Kenyan. My question is, do you have the paperwork to represent Kenya? Do you have a Kenyan passport? Are you a Kenyan citizen?
I do.
So you have dual nationality?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were there any challenges in you making the switch from Team Germany to Team Kenya?
Not really, because I applied for it this summer. Okay, there were a couple of sleepless nights because you have to first ask the federation that you want to leave, if they will let you go. Then obviously Kenya had to accept me, but that was the smallest issue because I'm also on the board of the federation. So I was kind of like, guys, are we doing this or not?
Yes.
And then the World Federation had to process that application. But I think I left on really good terms with the German team because we had 15 fantastic years together, and we've won medals together. We went through real highs, real lows, and they could understand. I just told them it's not against Team Germany, it's for Team Kenya, and it's for my Kenyan roots. And I just want to, as sentimental as it might sound, I want to honor my father's name. So yeah, you can be mad at me for leaving, but I don't think you can be mad at the reasons.
True. Very, very true. What are some of the structures or some of the support that you think you need or the Kenyan Fencing Federation needs in order to grow and thrive from a practical perspective?
I think the next big step for us as a federation would be to build a fencing hall, because you know how it is in Nairobi. Rent is extremely high, and you need one stable place where you can have those classes, where you can also stock the equipment. So I think for the federation, that would be the next big step. And for me, it's just getting support, additional support to do training camps and whatever. Yeah.
Financially?
Yeah, definitely financially.
Quick one, with regards to a fencing hall, can you use any hall? Do you need special flooring, special, trusses, lighting? What are some of the structures you need in order to have this hall, and how big does it have to be?
So fencing strip, the piece that we fence on, is 14 meters. As long as you have 16 meters length, you can actually fence in any hall. Of course, ideally you have lighting, but you need that for anything. We've been practicing at a boxing club, for example, right now. So it's not that difficult, especially for like just the basic training.
And have you reached out to any corporates or, the Ministry of Sports? What kind of partnerships are you looking to develop?
Actually, we're trying to reach out in all directions right now. I mean, I've just switched not even a week ago. So, I'm still, in the process of getting to know everyone, connecting with people, and reaching out. So from the Ministry of Sports to the National Olympic Committee of Kenya to corporations, we want to get in touch with everyone because I think fencing is such a great sport. And it's also important to me to show to the world that Kenya can do more than running, because I love our runners, but not everyone is built to be a runner. Excellent. And I just want kids to have to have the opportunity to try other things. If they feel like running is not their sport or whatever, then just come and try fencing.
The representative from Kenya that was at the World Championships, male or female?
Male.
Fantastic. So you're able to coach both?
Yes.
Fantastic. Alexandra Ndolo, any final words for Double O Direct listeners as I let you go?
I just really hope that I can bring a lot of pride and joy to Kenya, because I've seen it whenever I come and I talk about my accolades, people are already claiming me. So now I'm yours. And I really, really hope that I can bring some joy to Kenya. Yeah.
We do too. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today, and have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
SpiceFM.